Hey YouTubers, it's Charlie. So Marvel just dropped some concept art from Guardians of the Galaxy 2. It was part of a scene that appeared in the Comic-Con trailer, so I'm just going to do a breakdown, explain what's going on. Giant tentacle Lovecraft nightmare. So this is basically the beast that was described in the Comic-Con trailer. So Elizabeth Debicki plays something of an antagonist in the film, but she doesn't start out that way. She's like the leader of this genetically perfect people. They're kind of like a bunch of assholes. So like imagine when the Star Trek Enterprise would go to like a different planet and they would have this really weird culture and there'd be all this awkward comedy around the Enterprise crew making inappropriate comments. So like Rocket Raccoon just makes all these inappropriate jokes and it's just really funny. But Elizabeth Debicki's character hires the Guardians to take care of this space monster that is threatening their civilization. And as you'd expect, nothing goes according to plan, so as they take on the mission, everything ends up going sideways, and that becomes a big part of the A story. But like you look at this here, you see a better picture of dancing baby Groot, who doesn't have a uniform on. James Gunn said that like the Ravagers put like a tiny little Ravagers uniform on him, and he just gets super pissed off. Imagine like a tiny pissed off version of Groot. The monster itself, obviously it's not going to look like this in the film, this is just concept art. Things always change quite a bit between the concept phase and like the actual stuff that ends up on screen. So it doesn't look too Lovecraftian. I don't know if this is something straight out of the comics, but there have been a number of really weird space monsters that the Guardians have run into in the comics. So you could say that this is inspired by the comics, but obviously I think they made it like a little less frightening looking. Like it's kind of Lovecraftian. It even looks a little bit like the Shumagorath from the Doctor Strange comics, but that's not what it is. It kind of looks like a less nightmare fuel version of the many-angled ones, which is something from the Cancerverse and the Realm of Kings storyline in the comics. If you never read Realm of Kings, it's kind of an Inhumans storyline. I know everybody wonders if they're going to do Inhumans in the movies, but this looks like they're just borrowing that. It gets tied up with a big Universal Church of Truth storyline. They worship this big beast and bring it into our reality, and it becomes a big part of that storyline. So maybe that means we'll see some Universal Church of Truth stuff in Guardians Volume 2. That'd actually be pretty cool. But just to explain Shumagorath, the Shumagorath is like the demon lord of chaos. So like if the Shumagorath was threatening your civilization, there was probably nothing you could do to stop it if you didn't have an Infinity Gem. So this is more on the level of Star Wars trash compactor monster. Like a big threat, but not something that's completely insurmountable. But it's going to cause all kinds of really fun chaos in the film. Isn't it crazy though? Giant tentacle monster in Guardians of the Galaxy and giant tentacle monster in Doctor Strange. It's like James Gunn and Scott Derrickson, the directors of these two films, decided that Phase 3 needs more cowbell. Always more cowbell, and giant tentacle monsters are the cowbell of the Marvel Universe. So tentacle jokes aside, but I don't know if I mentioned it, but there's this big idea with like things being the only thing of its kind in the galaxy, like Rocket Raccoon is the only thing of its kind. Peter Quill's father, Ego the Living Planet, one of the only things of his kind too. So the ideas of loneliness, searching for a family, like the lengths you go to, the things you do to create a family for yourself are a big theme in the film. Like why would a living planet make himself a human body and try to have a child with a human woman? James Gunn has implied that just because he was so lonely, so that's going to be a big theme in the film. Being the only one of your kind, building families, loneliness, with liberal sequel jokes. I imagine there's going to be a lot of Empire Strikes Back jokes. But I know a lot of you are wondering, there's so much cosmic stuff happening in Guardians of the Galaxy. I think I've already mentioned, James Gunn said, no Thanos, no Infinity Gem. This doesn't really directly connect to the other Avengers films, but we might see some sort of post-credit scene where it links up with Thor, because Thor the Dark World did have that post-credit scene where they took the power gem to the Collector, and Thor Ragnarok is the next Marvel film after Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, so it would make sense that there's some sort of connective tissue between those two movies. But we haven't had any confirmation of a post-credit scene or anything official like that, not on the level of the Thor stuff that I just posted. Like it looks like there's a full-blown Doctor Strange Thor crossover that's going to be teasing Infinity War stuff. Like Thor and Loki resolve their differences during Thor Ragnarok, and Loki takes Thor to meet Doctor Strange, the Sorcerer Supreme. So let me know in the comments, do you think that Guardians of the Galaxy will have some sort of Thor post-credit scene? I feel like they don't have to, but I can't remember the last Marvel film I saw that did not have a post-credit scene with connective tissue to one of the upcoming movies. So just expecting some sort of Thor end tag at that movie. But congratulations to this week's giveaway winner, Keith Edwards. You win a $20 Amazon gift card. just be sure to private message me on the back end of my channel so I can get your contact details. So there'll be more Marvel stuff happening later this week. I'm probably going to do some more DC, Flash tomorrow. They've been tweeting a bunch of stuff about the episodes they're working on, and we're probably going to get a couple more trailers for the TV shows that are coming back in October. Pretty much every comic book TV show, Marvel and DC, is coming back at the end of September, the beginning of October. So a whole bunch of stuff is going to be dropping in the next couple weeks. They're like everybody's just going to be dumping their trailers. So it's going to be fun to see what some of this new stuff that's coming looks like. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is a good example. I'm not going to talk about it too much just because this is a Guardians of the Galaxy video, but there'll be more Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. stuff coming soon. While you guys wait for my next video, you can click here to learn all about the Thor Doctor Strange crossover that's going to be happening in Thor Ragnarok. Blow your mind. And you can click here to learn all about Spider-Man Homecoming and the comic book characters they're doing. Thank you so much for watching. Everybody, let's high five. I'll see you guys tonight.